Hi and welcome back to the PICKET FENCE Studios YouTube channel. Let's just take a sec and admire this new intro. Isn't that amazing? I love it. It's like magic. But today we're not going to be talking about magic. We are going to be talking about the really fun, nice Seeing You stamp set. So we're going to stamp that up with black hybrid ink because it's going to be a little bit more Copic coloring today. And I'm going to be using my MISTI to help me get a clear imprint because this stamp set is brand new to me. So I tend to, rather than preparing my stamp sets, I just tend to kind of stamp it up 3 or 4 times with the help of the MISTI. And then I clean off my stamp while it's still stuck to the lid of the MISTI as well with the fabulous stamp scrubber. And, you know, just a bit of water and you're good to go. So with this ink, I do set it usually a little bit with my heat tool just to kind of make sure that the ink is really nice and dry because I'm going to be using some lighter Copic colors on this. So I want to make sure that they don't kind of get smudged. So we're just going to kind of twirl this around a little bit and woody. And then we're going to make our color selections. And, you know, it's probably no surprise that I'm going to go in rainbow order here. So what I've done is I've gone for one of the darker colors in the sort of darker shade of the colors I'm going to use, and then I picked out some lighter ones just to kind of make sure that I can actually blend and create some of those highlights and lowlights to just kind of bring the image to life. So we got orange, yellow, green, sort of turquoisey, blue, and then I was debating pink or purple. And I settled for pink, and I decided to go for sort of like a fuchsia pink rather than a romantic pink. And then for my skin tones, I'm going to be using a whole array of Copics to make sure that I also have a rainbow of people in my image, because we don't all want to look the same, do we? So, and also, I mean, there's like an old man, kind of reminds me of my dad looking at his phone like, oh, what is the button I'm supposed to be pressing? And the same like with the old lady, looks super confused. That so reminds me of my mother. It's not even funny. But anyway, so with this coloring, I have sped up this coloring part of the clothes. And what I've done is I've kept everything really sort of super cohesive. So there's like an orange jacket, but she has a light sort of peach shirt on from like left to right, and so on and so on. And then so look at this, and I've gone in with some of the darker colors on there to kind of just create those highlights and lowlights as well. And now we're going to take a whole lot more of these markers, those and another few as well. And then we're going to add some skin tones. Now, full disclosure, I am a little bit rusty with my skin tones. I haven't actually been using my Copics a lot recently, so I kind of felt a bit sort of like, oh, where am I going to start? But what I do usually do is I start with a darker color, or if I'm doing a really pale skin color, I will start with like an underpainting of like a V20, which is why the purpley one is laying off there to the side. But I decided to go in and kind of start in the middle and create a dark skinned girl here. And you might sort of look at this and think, whoa, okay, this is not going to end up looking good. But just bear with me and trust the process. So what I do is I go in with a really dark Copic color first to kind of create those, like the contour and the shapes of the face. And then we're going to go lighter and lighter to sort of blend those out and make it, you know, so we're not going to want to have super sharp angles on the face. We're still going to want to create a nice skin tone, but we're still going to want to have like cheekbones, and you're going to want to see the nose, and you know, there's always going to be a bit of shadow like under her fringe. Well, this particular girl has got a fringe. So, you know, those are the sort of places where you'll add your dark color. And then we're just going to blend and go over and over and over. But bear in mind as well, with skin tones, I find anyway, that if I'm working on an image and I will go back in and add a little bit of darker, and then I'll blend that out with a bit of lighter, and you know, so on and so on, you're going to get a much smoother and more natural look. Whereas if you just go in with one layer, bam, done. It just, for me, this is something that kind of works a bit better. Although I will remind you that I am a little bit rusty at the moment. So, I mean, you might look at this girl and you think, oof, okay, she's been sat out in the sun for way too long because she's looking rather rosy. And by rosy, I mean super sunburned. But also, again, with Copics, you need to let the color sit and like dry as well. So we are probably going to go back in and add a little bit more detail or do a little bit more blending later on. But this is just, again, it's practice, 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 practice. Find the technique that works for you, basically. Not everybody likes to do everything the same. So this is where practice cannot be replaced with anything. So practice, practice, practice. And I know I'm going to be harping on about that, but that is the way of the world, unfortunately. Right, so I think my green girl has got enough of sort of skin color on her for the time being. So we are going to move on to the next person, and we are going to go for the old man. So here you'll see that I am going in with a V20 first to kind of do a little bit of what's called underpainting to create some contrast and skin tones and sort of natural looking shadows on the face, basically. And then this one is a Copic Chow, so it's actually a E11. And this one is really, really good for if you want to have a little bit of like a skin tone tint to your people, but you don't want it to be too bright or too light or too dark. So we are going to go in with some lighter markers on this one. And this one is an YR20. And you might think, oh, that's very yellow. And yes, it is quite yellow, but the way it will interact with the other colors that are already on the paper will create a sort of more, like almost like a pale waxy look, which I kind of feel like is appropriate for an old man. So we're just going to add a lot less color on the old man, actually. I find with light skin tones, it's a lot easier. You don't need as many markers. Whereas with the darker ones, you're obviously going to want to have a very natural look, and you're going to want to have some contrast and shading. And I do feel like I need a lot more markers for that. But with this girl that's on the end, I am going to be also adding some dark skin, but this is going to be in a slightly different shade. So we're going to try to have all the people in different shades. And again, you might look at this and think, oh, okay, I am really not convinced what you're doing here. But it always looks a bit weird in the beginning. So just keep working at it and just add that color and blend, blend, blend. Later on in the video, we are going to speed up the rest of the skin coloring, and then also the hair is going to get colored in. Now, the only thing I've actually left white on this image is the background and the phones. So I decided to make sure that everyone had a white phone for some reason. I'm not sure why, but it's just it just ended up that way. And then we're going to finish off this card. I was thinking in the beginning that maybe I was going to turn this into a bookmark, because I kind of feel like, you know, those are phones in their hands, but they could be Kindles. And I have recently gotten into reading real books again. So I thought, I'm going to make myself a bookmark. But then this turned into a card. But anyway, there you have it. The bookmark will have to be a project for another time. And I have also used some fun new, well, I say new, a newish products to finish off the card. So for the background, I created a plaid background with the Slimline Plaid 1 stencils. Then I've also cut out a fun sentiment with the Seeing double alpha dies, and I love a good alpha dies set. It's just so fun. And to make sure that I have a really nice frame around my card, I have used the Slimline die cutting system with the Scallop frame dies. This is an absolute must-have for us Slimline card lovers. It's such a good system, and there is so many to choose from as well. So you have everything covered, whether you want just stitched or a straight line or scallop. It's such a worthy investment for sure. And here you can see in the video, I am just coloring the hair, and it's going by in a wisp because I've done this in a time lapse. But some of these little details were just sort of, you know, it's just hair, it's just the ribbon on the girl, and then I have trimmed this down So you can see that it's kind of like almost like those sort of little Polaroid photos. But here is the background that I've created with the slimline plaid stencil, and here is that scalloped frame die set, the slimline die cutting set. It's such a brilliant set, and it creates a really nice scallop around the frame there. So we are going to use this, and we're going to put our picture right sort of in the middle, but we're going to turn it around first to make sure we have the darker color on top. And then with the letters that I've cut out using the C and Alpha set, what I've done is I've popped out the skinny letter inside. So you actually get 3 versions of this. So you can either keep them solid, you can use the skinny inside bit, or you can use the outline. Brilliant. Okay, so I decided to spell out "let's catch up." And I just thought, you know what? In these times, you know, we're not seeing our friends for a long time, so I think this card was just kind of perfect for that sort of thing, because we're all connecting online basically these days anyway, aren't we? So yes, here is the finished card, and with that I'm all done. But don't forget to subscribe to the Picket Fence Studios YouTube channel for lots more tutorials and fun cards and inspiration. And see you again next time. Bye for now.